Hello YouTubers, right, as promised in the last video that I would come to you with some other different leaves. I think we've got rose leaves, ruscus leaves and ivy. Now, because we're making it for my daughter's, these are the table dressings, and we're following what was in the bouquet for the cake that we've made, and it all copies and is all to do with her actual bouquet. So the next one that I found that I had a problem with was the ivy leaves. Whoops. Now I've got two different coloured ivy leaves. As you can see, they're pretty sort of stuck with some clay in them. Let me wind you out a little bit. There we go. Because they stuck quite a lot, and on top of that there was no marks, there was no veiners. So the first thing I did was looked at all the veiners I had in my pot, which were these three, which normally are fantastic, but do not work for ivy. So the next thing I thought was doing was making my own moulds. So I cut a piece of clay and I did really darkly, two of each, in the big one and the small one, what I would feel like the veins look like in an ivy. So that was just a rough idea. So then I baked them, because at the moment if you use those they are a negative because they go in, which means if you use them, let me show you on this corner piece here, let me cut it off. Basically the veins will come out, and obviously on a leaf they go in. So if you was to push that into the top of there, this is called a negative. A positive is when it comes outwards on your stamp. I don't know whether that will work because I haven't used any. Oh, let's see if we can get it off so you can just get this. Okay, it's not great, but you can see what I'm on about. So if you can see, the veins are coming, ignore the tears. Just look at that bit there. Come on, camera. Like there, you can see the veins are coming outwards. That's not what we want. That makes it a negative. So to turn it into a positive, I came along and I did what we just did, obviously with some corn flour, so it didn't stick. You can use water, but when I find you're doing lots of them, it can get a little bit messy. So I use cornstarch. So I cornstarched everything, put it in, and this is what came out, if you can see. So now I've got a positive because it's coming outwards. Yeah. So there's your negative, and there's your, ooh, God, I got dropsy today. And there's your positive. So it's the positive one that you want. And it is long-winded because you do have to cook this one. Mine's Fimo, so you have to cook it in the oven for 110 for 30 minutes. But always follow the back of what the manufacturer says on the back of the pack, and always try to remember that. Okay, so this is the one we want. Okay, so that's what we got. So I did it in big and small, and I did two of each because I want to sandwich it. I want to make sure that I've got the same as what we did with the fern leaves. I want it on the back as well as the front. So the first thing I need to do is, it's all fell out. Not that much, but that will be fine. Oh, look at all that. Oh, what a mess. Right, so that'll be okay. And we're going to cut. I'll show you on the bigger one rather than the smaller one so you can see it better. We're going to cut our shape first. So literally just cut your shape. And this is with my Jamie Oliver on the biggest setting, which I think there's 6 settings on that, which is a really nice size, I have to say. Not great if you want it bigger, but it's... Oh, I've left my blade out there. It works well. So we're going to dust the back because we don't want it to stick in the mould like we just saw. Okay, so here we have our mould, our shape that's been cut. So as you can see, it's a great shape, but no good for me. I need to have the veins on it. I've got to have veins on it for it to work inside my on my table displays. So now I'm going to get my big one, the big mould that I made, and I'm going to rest that inside there. As you can see, it's a perfect fit. It's because I cut it out of with this and then I drew it on, and then that made it so that it was big enough. What I would probably do if I was going to do it again is do a square, so that this has to sit at the bottom of it, and then it allows it that if it's bigger it doesn't matter. But for right now it works very, very well. Okay, so I'm going to put that one on the top, like so. So you've got a nice sandwich, if you can see. And then give it a little squeeze. Make sure you use cornstarch first before you use this, otherwise it will just becomes like a big mulchy mess that you cannot get out of your mould. And there you have it. See, it's not going to come out, I haven't used enough. Use your pointy tools, give it a little sort of tease it out, and there you go. So that is how I got my veins on both sides of my ivy. Now, before I was doing that, do you remember we did the wires in the bases, like so? Before I put the marks on and everything, I actually put the wire in first, because it's thicker and it allows you to have a little bit more play on where you're sort of sticking it in at the bottom there, and then I was putting it in the mould afterwards. So that's something to remember, otherwise trying to get a wire into that is going to be an absolute nightmare. So you want to put the wires in first before you pop the mould in, the clay into the mould. Okay, so that's the first one, which is your ivy leaf. So the second one I wanted to show you, let me get rid of these little bits, was the rose leaf. Again, I had the same problem here as what I had with the ivy. So as you can see, I've got two sizes, which is great. Got a hole in the end, great, but no leaf markings. So let's cut one out. I'm going to use, no, let's go for a small one this time to show you it does work with all sizes. So I cut it out, and then I looked in my cupboard to see what I got. And one year somebody got me, or my husband, or the family, a box of chocolates. I kept the bottom bit with the theory that I was going to make my own chocolate, but that just never happened. But I kept it anyway. So what I did was cut around very carefully, otherwise you'll lose a finger, and get this bottom piece here, because that is technically already your mould, if you look. So I cut it out, and this is what I had. I cut two out because I want front and back. Now one's a negative, which is that one, because it's going in that side, so that doesn't work. So otherwise when we use it as a stamp, it will make it the veins protrude out, which they don't do. But if you turn it over, there's your positive. It was already in place for me. So I cut two out. You have to excuse the state of this when it's been used over and over for 150 rose petals. And I then get my shape. Now make sure it is well, like we did on the last one. Otherwise, if it's not well powdered, it will stick and you'll never get it out. So just use some of that off the table, and look, because we've got so much here. Nice and powdered. This will come off as it bakes, and over the course of the process, it will come off. So you want to pop it inside at the bottom of the vein, like so. Remember, not on the negative side, you want it on the positive side, so it sticks out. So when it puts the marks in your leaf, it's going to make them go in. And then that one on top. Now this one's quite a good one because you can see where you're putting it. Let me zoom you in a little bit. Like so. Okay, and then just give it a little squeeze. Now if it goes a little bit bigger, it doesn't matter. I don't mind. No leaves are all the same, as no leaves are the same colours. All these that I'm making, once they've been in the oven, or before they go in the oven, they can be dusted. Mica powders will stick to it beautifully. Food colouring dust works well, and there's lots of other things you can use as well. If you wait till it comes out the other side and it comes out the oven. You can also use paint on it, but luster dust does work as well, which is food colouring. So there we go, and we're just going to ease it out gently, and there it is. There's your petal. So both sides are done, which is great, like that. And then literally you want to just try and gently fold it in half, and very gently, and then open it back out like so, and run your thumb down it, and then that gives it the perfect shape for what you want. Just gives it a little bit of life, and it's absolutely beautiful. Now again, if you're putting stems on these, like these, bits of wire, they've got to go in first, otherwise there's no way you can fit that in there without... Oh look, I've done it. I've actually managed to do it. There you go. And you can't see it, but I have managed to flatten a bit of it. Look, and I've lost the pattern. So it is worth doing that. When you cut it here, then put your wire in, use some liquid clay, it'll help it go in and stay in. Then do your mould, and then bend it, and that's done. So basically I would now bake that, and then I will colour it when it comes out at the other end. Okay, so the last one I wanted to show you was the Ruscus leaf. This is a Ruscus leaf, and it doesn't matter if it's more closed or more open. More open is probably, that's probably closed a little bit much, but the Ruscus leaf comes in many different shapes, many different colours. They're very rich green, some of them, which I like, but that would all sort of depend on your top coat. So these ones I'm going to top coat in gloss, high gloss, because the Ruscus leaf is a really shiny looking leaf. And the rest of it will probably be done in satin, but I might do some of the leaves the rest of the leaves will be, the rest of the bouquets will be done in matte. So, but some of the leaves I might do in satin and some of them high gloss. Okay, so this is a very easy one to do as well. So you take your knife, let me just move this over. You're going to take your knife and you're just going to do a shape like that. That is it. Fatter at the top than it is at the bottom, and that's what you're left with. So just this sort of shape. Now again, put your stem in. Oh, it's in the... Let me get another one out. I like to cut mine beforehand. I hate having to cut more as I'm going, so I cut all mine beforehand. Watch your fingers, because when you cut, because it does involve a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Safety with scissors when you're cutting. That was my Rottweiler, by the way, folks. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so I've just pushed it in. Normally I would put some liquid clay there as well. Just give it a little tuck so you know it's nice and tight there. Okay. So I went along my edges and just thinned my edges out just a little bit. Not too much, because I don't want to leave massive finger marks in it. And I don't want it kind of a wavy kind of leaf either. I just want it just nice and soft on the edges. So I'm going to put a little bit of this on it, because it makes it just a little bit easier to manage. But you don't have to with this, because you're not using any mould or anything like that. There's very few markings on the Ruscus leaf, depending on which one you go for, and the one that I've chosen has hardly any markings on, so I've chosen not to mark it. So now you're going to fold. It's funny how you get into a situation where you get used to folding it in certain ways. So you're going to fold it in half like you did with the rose leaf, like so, and then you're going to run your thumb down it, and you're going to open it to as much as you want to, or as little. So like that. That is a pretty good Ruscus leaf. If you want to sort of just flatten the edges out and get rid of some fingerprints, just rub your fingers over it. It will go. If you lay it down on the side like that. See, it does go. And then just do that side as well. And then that's it. And there you go. So there, oh, sorry about that. I just sort of laid it down and then just rubbed the sides. which got rid of majority of my fingerprints. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, one Ruscus leaf, very simple. So I hope you found that, let me get rid of these off of here, a little bit on the more interesting side. I would put them together and show you all that, but on the last video that I made making a fern leaf, I did put on there on how to wrap. So these ones, because I'm wrapping 6 to 7 per sprig, it's made it difficult to show you with that one, but there you go. So hit that subscribe button and you won't miss anything, and it was great. Thank you for watching. The next video I'm going to release is probably going to be flowers. I've released a rose one beforehand, but what I'm going to do is an updated rose one and show you how to make a half rose and a bud and a calla lily and possibly a jasmine. Okay, so we'll go from there. So I'll see you very soon, and thank you for watching, and thank you for being patient with me, as I haven't released a video. Like I say, it's been a bit sort of nightmare and wild here. But thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.